everybody out there in comic book land. My name is George Serrano, aka The Don, and if you're listening to this, you can only be here for one reason, and it's a brand new episode of the Major Issues Podcast. Brought to you each and every week by ComicBookClique.com, and as always, I am never alone. Sir, if you could please introduce yourself.
Cloudus Maximus in the building for another Spidey episode.
Whoa. Cloudus Maximus is over there getting excited for another Spidey episode. Cloudus, you are one of my oldest friends and one of the ones that has kind of went with me through our journey into all things comic books and comic book media. We've seen several Marvel films together. We've read comics together, and we find ourselves right now in the middle of a renaissance in regards to Spider-Man, which is not only a hometown hero for us, both being from New York, but one of the greatest superheroes of all time. And with a hero that has been in comics for this long, you would need quite a significant redesign, revamp, renovation for someone like this. Do you remember when they were talking about this being a thing, Ultimate Spider-Man being a thing? And can you remember if you were excited about that news?
It's hard to think to, I wasn't really even ready for question like that so early, because it's like Spidey's been around for so long, bro.
Yes, definitely.
So you've seen people you've seen the outrage to stories after they've done some things, and then they want to pick up either where they left off or start something new off of something else that that people don't necessarily approve. I'm looking at you one more day.
No, I mean, you're 100% right. There's been a bunch of stuff being said behind the scenes regarding editorial things they will and will not let Spider-Man actually do, and some people think that these things may have hampered the character's overall progression. Comic books, especially the long-standing ones, things like Batman, that's going on Detective Comics over 1,000 issues, Action Comics over 1,000 issues. They always say that these comics are in the middle stage. This is always Act 2. They're never supposed to end, right? So you can't really do too much to change the status quo. You're just doing enough to pass it on to the next writer. But with this Ultimate Universe, they seem to have an end, or they promise that they have an end, in sight. And thus, you can set up a bunch of different things that the fans would be excited about, and have an end that you're ultimately going to work towards. It's unfortunate that this is coming to an end, because I'm finding a lot of these Ultimate books very exciting, extremely entertaining, and I think leading the charge is Ultimate Spider-Man, the first book that was announced and the first book that they came out with. And obviously, if you don't know the creative team, this is Ultimate Spider-Man by Jonathan Hickman and Marco Cicchetto. Bro, real quick, if Marco's listening to this, in the atmosphere, I gotta tell a quick story. At the last Comic-Con that I went to, MegaCon in Orlando, we were walking around and boom, I see Marco Cicchetto, and I'm like, this is the Ultimate Spider-Man artist. I love his art. I need to get something signed by him. I need to be around him. I need to, not leave
Breathe
here without any
air.
sort of interaction. Yeah. And ultimately I went and I bought a Ultimate Spider-Man #1. Which was and is damn near impossible to find now. A first printing of Ultimate Spider-Man #1 is almost impossible to find now. There is one with design sketches by Marco, and he had it like in a rack. I think it was about $20 or something like that. And I'm like, it is what it is. I'll have a #1. It has his designs on the front, and he will sign it. Like heaven.
Fire.
I go ahead and I grab that. And I get up to the front of the line, and he's like, "No money, no cash. You have it." Right? Signed it and gave it to me, and I was in.
That's a classy move right there. I
was in heaven, and it's one of those things. Like, part of me feels like it was one of those drug, right? Like, don't worry about this one. The next one, like
next one.
You pay for the next one. And it's like, he's made a fan for life. This one moment. Right, that may have costed him $15 or $20. I'll sing his praises and defend his ass forever in
I'd have
perpetuity moving forward.
I probably would have passed out walking away.
It was just such a cool moment, and I implore those who haven't been to cons to go and actually meet these people behind these stories, because they are actual factual human beings, interesting ones. And yeah, you get cool moments like that. And then you have Jonathan Hickman, who is someone that we have repeatedly called a genius on this podcast.
I was gonna say, even into my introduction into comics and stuff, Hickman and Bendis were the ones that really have always been around me personally for most of this. So those two names pop up without even, I can go like this across the page without even noticing any names. But if those names are on the paper, bro,
100%.
they making me stop, you know.
And the thing is, I wasn't reading comics when the first Ultimate Spider-Man. I wasn't reading comics when Bendis rebooted that line then. And so many people were liking that version of Spider-Man more than Amazing Spider-Man that was in the mainline 616.
That kicked me off. That started me, bro. Yeah. Between me being in the library reading like manga Dragon Ball. Oh my God, dude. If I wasn't reading manga Dragon Ball, then I was upstairs trying to look for all of the Spider-Man that they had and like I would go like, dude, like people would tell me, put that back, make sure you put it back the way you found. And I'm just like, see, I'm getting transported just now, just thinking about that, you know.
I learned lessons early on when that was like at its height. I tried to do the whole comic pirating thing, and so I download like a gig of this stuff. I put it on my tablet, and I go to read it, and it's all in Spanish. And I was like,
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
I was like, what? I was like, what is going on here? But yeah, so I missed that, right? So like similarly, you constantly hear all the time, like, why is this being rebooted? Why are they doing a new version of this? And it's like, there's a whole fan base that didn't get that experience early on. There's a whole fan base that didn't get to see these movies in theaters or watch these episodes week to week or sit and live with these characters. And that Ultimate Spider-Man line, like I said, without a doubt, absolutely revamped and re-energized a character that's been around for so long, and ultimately gave us Miles Morales. That's one of the biggest takeaways from that. But yeah, it's created so many readers overnight and was seen as some of the best parts of that Ultimate Universe that kind of went a little crazy after a while, you know, when you get to Ultimatum and other stuff like that, other questionable stuff. I mean, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver and all that weird stuff. But Spider-Man was always pure. Spider-Man was always good. And so when this got announced, I was kind of like, you know, it is what it is. I've read enough Elseworld Spider-Man stories to kind of get what's going on. It wasn't until they showed me the Parker. When the images of the Parker,
I'm gonna let you go. I got, man, this. I'm finna add on a whole other hour to this pod.
Yeah.
I mean, look, your picture is the fan, my picture is the fan. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah. For years, it has been said that on purpose, the Marvel editorial team have been dragging my boy Pete. And anytime he gets close to a semblance of some happiness, something negative or unfortunate would happen, which would then cause him to kind of go back to square one. It's part of this whole dribbling thing. Quick tangent to make a comparison. People have this kind of stuff with Batman. This happens all the time with Batman, where a universe destroying villain would show up. He tells everybody, I don't need help. Get away from me or you're just going to get hurt. And then they all come and save him in the end. And he's like, I love my family. Like they just do this over and over again, which then, like there's so many Jason Todd fans that are upset every time Batman fights him again, finds a new reason to have beef with him again. But some of these characters get stuck in these patterns. And so, for those who wanted to read a happy Peter Parker who was married with MJ, you would have to go to Renew Your Vows, which I think got its own level of popularity just because people were finally happy to see.
Well, just wanted, bro. They wanted him to have that.
Yeah. Do you have any history with that book?
I have not. I wanted to get to that because of the just the blatant W they were just giving my boy Peter. You know? And I was excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you had Mayday in there being a superhero. I think even MJ suited up on occasion, and you got to see a different side.
Some of it was spoiled to me, so I am familiar though.
Yeah. We definitely got to see a different side of this character. And Also, I mean, I know it seems like a small thing, but bearded Peter Parker was also a very exciting thing to
Hmm.
see because he
Come
just
on, man.
looked different from a character that they kind of want perpetually to be like in high school forever, right? Like this is a
Hmm.
guy they always want
Bro,
set in high
they had
school.
all this time. They had all this time to plan it out. You better.
Yes,
Y'all
yes.
better know y'all know what y'all want to give him by the time it's time to give it to him. So bearded Peter is you know it's a handsome.
I can't
He's
get over the comparison pictures with like Grant Gustin, bearded Grant Gustin and stuff.
Yeah, bro, that's
I'm like,
crazy. I've
man,
seen that more than a couple of times already, and that blows
man.
my mind every single time.
But in a world in which you know it's going to end, and in a world in which you know you don't really have the same sort of pressures that everyone else does, right, of changing too much, they, uh, sorry for younger listeners, they put their whole ass in this series.
They
They
did,
put
bro.
everything they could in
They
this
did.
series, and it's going to go down as one of people's favorite versions of this character. But before we get into some of the bigger themes and some of the bigger stuff that goes on in this series, I wanted to give you some of the insight from the creative team behind it, right? So, as we were talking about, Jonathan Hickman does tremendous work. People swear by his Krakoa. I would tell anyone to go and read his run on Fantastic Four. He's done tremendous work in the Marvel Universe. Also, Chip Zdarsky was originally supposed to write this series. And through scheduling and everything else, Jonathan Hickman ended up getting it. And I mean, I still think he kills the game. Zdarsky would have done a lot more jokes, but I really like the level, how he levels out everything and everyone in this story. But
Hmm.
according to Hickman, he wanted a different Spider-Man origin. So he spoke about his goal to reinvent the character's origin story. Rather than a teenage Peter Parker who gets bitten by a spider, this version is an adult married to Mary Jane Watson with 2 children. The core of the story is that his great responsibility, his family, comes before he gets the great power, which I
Hmm.
think is what we all have. We all feel,
Yeah.
right? Regardless of the power any of us have, we still have all that fucking responsibility. So it changed that fundamentally changes the character, right? He doesn't automatically just have a bunch of responsibility thrown on him after he's Spider Man. He already had that weight. He's already walking with that weight every day, and then
Hmm.
ultimately, um, Hickman stated that the relaunch of the Ultimate line was about creating a new universe with a clear beginning, middle, and end. He wanted to establish a self-contained world for new readers, but also for those who want a different take on Marvel characters. Hickman revealed that he was surprised by how much fun he was having writing the series. He was ahead on his scripts, a sign of his enjoyment of the project, and has highlighted the importance of the relationships in this, particularly the dynamic between Peter Parker and his family, and also the unexpected pairing of Ben Parker and J. Jonah Jameson. As far as Mark Tichetto, and I hope I'm saying that right, goes, he stated that it been his dream since childhood was to become a comic book artist, and specifically to draw Spider-Man. And again, like,
Hell yeah.
come on, man.
Hell
You could tell this man. You could tell
yeah.
this is this man's resume,
Hell
bro.
yeah.
If this, they say, what does it say? Dress for the job you want or
Uh-huh.
whatever. So the work that he's done on this, man, this is your resume, bro. They put out this man on Spider-Man forever. If it works for me. He was thrilled to be offered the opportunity not to just to draw the character, but ultimately reinvent him. Right? It's one thing to kind of want the job, like want to get to WrestleMania, right? And it's another thing for people to be like, "What color do you think WrestleMania should be this year?" Like, wait a minute, hold on. Tichetto's art is a major part of this book's appeal. He has talked about his love for drawing melancholic characters and injecting a sense of pain and weight to the action. Um, he says when he draws, he works a lot from instinct, especially when it comes to character poses. And he's noted that as the series goes on, he feels more confident with the characters and the script, which makes him believe that each issue is better than the last, because he gets to spend more time with these characters.
Mhm.
Um, but usually, when we talk about a comic book series or a run, we like to go issue to issue. But I feel like I want this conversation to be more conversational, and also I
Right.
want it to be a bit more broad. In case there are new people who are listening to this and want to kind of get into this comic, some things will be spoiled. We're not going past the first 10 issues. And again, we're more so not talking about specific moments and panels, but the overall idea of what they're trying to set up here. Um, so first and foremost, we got to talk about again Peter Parker, 35 years old. I am 37.
I'm about to turn 35. My birthday
No,
is
I'm
next
36.
Tuesday.
Bro, I just jumped the gun. I'm 36. But yeah, like
All right.
right around
Everyone
our
wants to be
age.
Spider-Man, bro. It's
Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
Everybody wants to be Spider-Man.
Right around this age, that Peter is right now. He is a husband.
Mhm.
He's got 2 kids. I mean, you have a family of your own. I
Are
guess
you
I
saying
wanted to.
are you saying I'm gonna get a, a portal opened in my living room? It's gonna be a strange man to bring me some technology.
But what I'm asking is, what do you think before we get into him being handed basically his destiny? What do you make of this whole family dynamic? What do you dig about this? Given the fact that I said most Spider-Men have not had this, what could you tell me about how you feel about the Parkers?
How much time you got?
Lay it on,
How
bro.
much time you got? All right, let me center myself real quick because it's gonna be easy for me to get carried away here. Um, from Jump Street, sold. Because if you've been on this ride with Peter as long as Peter's been around, or even for a long time, decent amount of time, what have you, this is everything Peter could want, bro. Every single thing that Peter has ever wanted, good like good in his life that means something to him, he has.
Yeah,
Before he gets anything, his great power, the suit, any super friends, and to see him have that for a little while before he gets the extra stuff, I think is well deserved. Not only well deserved, excuse me, not only well deserved for him, but well deserved for everyone else reading.
yeah. The
Because I
fans are
remember,
kind of like,
bro,
yeah.
because I remember reading this, bro, and going and feeling so happy for him, and then going, if I'm this happy, right,
Yeah,
for him right now with everything that he has, I could imagine the people who have been around longer than I have feeling this way.
yeah,
Such a sense of satisfaction, gratitude, because that's our boy. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
you know how long he's been dragged. You know how long he's been trying. Like, this whole thing has been dangled in front of him like a carrot all his life.
yeah, yeah,
Or at least for as long as I can remember, so to see him have the family, the 2 kids, the job, the everything, man. And I can't think of anybody else that should have that right now, especially in that universe, or in the Marvel comic universe in general. Screw that. You know what I
I mean, there's
mean?
been so many characters that they've just allowed to go in that direction. He's just kind of been
Mm-hmm.
on a treadmill of sorts, and yeah, I don't he's still not with MJ in the comics, to my knowledge.
Right. But
So
to see this and know that at one point this was the blueprint for everything that he's wanted. Not even everything he's wanted. It is everything he's wanted. To see him have that is so different. It's crazy that it's so different, that he's been dragged so long, that for him to have this is just so wild to see. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? That is just surprising, and to see it continue, and to see him have that, it's like, are you guys are you guys fucking with us? Are you gonna pull the rug from out underneath us at any second? Because I felt that way for like the first couple of issues, and after that, knowing that wasn't the case, um, it's just I was gonna say amazing.
no,
It's just
I get
amazing,
that.
bro.
I
You
get that
know.
too. Yeah, the image of the perfect nuclear family that he would have, a lot of people would see that as the end goal for that character, right? Like when he
Mm-hmm.
retired or something like that. The
Yep.
idea that you dropped all his problems on him then is very interesting, because you this almost seems like a happily ever after thing, but anyone who's truly reached that point in their lives know the show doesn't end. Show doesn't
Mm-hmm.
end when you get married. It doesn't end when you have children. It doesn't end, when you become a parent or a grandparent. It just continues another chapter, different obstacles, different challenges. And I think because we are having a Spider-Man that is right there in the middle, you end up dealing with that. The relatability for older Peter is kind of the idea that I want to believe many comic book fans probably were not the Flash Thompsons of the world. right? They weren't the star quarterbacks or, other fancy. They weren't the rich people like Norman Osborn and kind of stuff. They were Peter. They were the overlooked, maybe even bullied,
And
people in the school.
one of the best parts is, and I didn't realize this until you had said his age. And he's 35, bro.
Yeah.
A lot of us are 35 right now.
That's what I'm saying. 90s
A
Spider-Man.
lot of us are 35, 36. A lot of people that are just as old as Peter,
If you're old enough to remember
guess,
Spider-Man the animated series, you're in your 30s.
Yeah. So it's like and some people I think like to piggyback off of that and its energy to compare that to this a little bit, in a sense where it's like, damn, this is the complete opposite from what Peter had. Well, at least what Peter is known for having.
Not for nothing, but the no shade on the gentleman, but I've always said that while I can appreciate the Tom Holland MCU films, I do not relate. I'm Vulture now in those stories. When someone's gonna come pick up my daughter for the prom or something like that. Like I'm the teacher in the background going, "Hey, Odia, shut up!" Captain America's a war criminal or any of that kind of stuff. Like it's just different, and I want there to be a new Spider-Man for those who are younger and are dealing with that right now. But what I find interesting is that this Ultimate Spider-Man's relatability starts with the idea of feeling like you have not done enough in your life. You've played things too safe. And that's a completely different problem than it is, I'm an awkward teenager. That eventually will fade out. The most awkward teenagers in the world are running tech billionaire companies, and are running the world right now. You know what I'm saying? What happens after that? What happens after the awkwardness of high school when you actually start to try to accomplish goals in your life, like have a career, raise a family? And even though Peter seems to be firing on all cylinders, he still has that ultimate feeling of not accomplishing his goals. And there, early on in the book, there's a very important conversation between him and Ben, where Ben kind of calls him out on it. Ben's like, "You've been playing shit safe. Like that's the reason why," and I think we've all felt that way on occasion, not going for the bigger obstacle because there's so much on the line, not going for our bigger dreams because of all the work that it would take and all the people you got to drag along with you when that happens, especially if you have a family and stuff. So I think it's interesting that that's what the relatability of this Peter Parker is. It's more rooted in the realism of the world and in the feeling that I think almost everybody has about not reaching your true potential.
100%.
Yeah. So yeah, I think starting off a Peter like that, who feels like he's missing like a vital component in his life, is interesting because that vital component is not his parents or a dead Uncle Ben. Unfortunately, in this universe, is actually Aunt May, who passes away here. But what do you think about the idea that this whole Spider-Man idea is something that he has a choice in, something that he's presented with and has a choice in? Peter, from most other stories, is involuntarily bit by a spider. He does not. He does not choose to get bit by a spider. He
gets bit anyway. Like
he gets bit and has to deal with it, and has to. What do I do now that I'm bit? That I have these powers? But even on a reread, I thought it was such an exciting scene watching Tony be like, "I know you feel like this life is weird for you, and it is. I can tell." People would dream, especially if you're not feeling fulfilled. People would dream of a world in which someone comes out of a portal and says, "You know why you're not you're happy? Because you're meant for more." Someone took that, and the way that they put that in front of Peter, this idea of, a lost legacy, that feeling that you get, that's real. Like it's not someone to tell you, "Oh, you're just feeling weird because you're that age or because midlife." No. You are a hero in another universe. I have the ability to make you one in this universe. Are you willing to take it?
What's up? And that is, bro. What you want to do?
It's literally his destiny in his hands. And what a unique way to start that story. Do you think that's better or worse? The idea that he has a choice in the matter versus kind of being forced to be Spider-Man.
I think the setup was fire. to be honest. Because everyone gets used to. We've seen him get bit 100 million ways, 100 different times, right? So you get it. So going in, it's like, all right, how's he gonna get bit this time?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean,
Or even
Ultimate Invasion starts off with the idea that they took the spider out of the equation completely. So it's like, yeah, again, how is he going to get these powers? But yeah, you get this gift from Tony Stark, and ultimately hands him his legacy, hands him and his destiny, and gives him that choice about whether or not he's going to actually do it. And so you kind of get the little fake out because you get the Pico suit first, right?
Yeah.
Which, to my knowledge, Pico is just smaller than Nano.
Yeah.
Or like nanites, but incredibly smaller to, accomplish whatever goals and stuff like that. We get that all black suit up front. And you also get early Spider-Man. Like there's a very small part in every superhero's origin that's equal parts exciting and comedy as they figure out how things are before their grandmother gets hostaged, or their sidekick gets their fingers cut off, or whatever dark ways comics go on occasion. And because I never read early Spider-Man, but because I never was able to jump in on an early Spider-Man, I don't have much of that early excitement stuff. I remember it from like Tobey's Spider-Man, right? Like web and all that other kind of stuff as he figures that out. And Andrew Garfield learning how to web sling in the skate park or whatever, right? And so like in this, you see him like trying to play around with his strength and his speed after he gets this suit and figure out what it's like to be Spider-Man. And you see him deal with a villain, the Shocker, and it doesn't go the way that he wants it to. He's ultimately tricked twice by the same villain because he thinks he could just talk him out of being a criminal.
The benefit of the doubt, bro. Good old Spidey.
Did you enjoy this sort of like trial and error?
I did because Shocker is actually like low key one of my favorites. Even though a lot of people don't really care for Shocker, Shocker was one of my guys. So it was kind of good to see Shocker show up in the beginning at first.
Yeah, I thought that was really really cool, and it's also a low stakes villain.
Yeah,
you don't have to promise anything. You don't have to. You don't have to do anything crazy with him and stuff like that. One of the things I also wanted to talk about is when it comes to stories like this, even in the Absolute Universe, which is going on in DC, a lot of the entertainment to me is derived from the idea that we know these stories so well that they know when to twist them. And they know when to turn them. And like one of the things that happens early on in this is that Peter Parker goes to work and J. Jonah Jameson yells Parker, and you go,
yes, Parker, yep.
Here we go again. I this bus is never late. No, it's not for Peter Parker. It's for Ben Parker.
Ben Parker, bro.
And you're like, oh, okay, wait, Ben's alive. Okay, wait, Ben and Jonah are like friends. You get a moment in this.
Besties.
You get a moment in this comic where J. Jonah takes the tie off of his own shirt and gives it to Peter while also encouraging him. It's one of the weirdest things to see, especially the more Spider-Man media that you've taken in. But it's also incredibly sweet. And one of the things that it made me realize is especially early Spider-Man, especially cinematic Spider-Man, has a severe lack of father figure, of living father figures. One could argue it is his need for father figures that puts him underneath guys like Norman and then Otto, and then, and get pulled around and pushed around because he looks at these great men and hopes be like them, hopes to have them around, and ultimately finds out that, they're no good. So it's like Peter doesn't have a dad in this. He almost has two. What do you think that changes about the character? What would you say?
I think it adds because May's not around, and I like to think if Jonah and Ben are close, then he's got to be at least close to Jonah in some way.
Yeah.
I just think it's crazy because I'm trying to find the words, and I'm getting what I'm feeling at first back from when I first got introduced to both of them. And bro, even talking about it is still weird as hell. When I first read it, I kept reading for like another 2 panels, and then I just had to be like, yo, this is so weird right now.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
You know, so it's like even and it's crazy. To even realizing it just now, even being asked the question, it's like I'm with it, but even still, being with it for the most part, it's still so different. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah. You wouldn't think just moving around a couple pieces on the board would change the game, but
Hmm.
it instantly becomes a game changer in a world where in almost every other piece of Spider-Man media, when he is having a crisis of conscience, someone would walk up to him and say something along the lines of, "What would Ben say? What would Ben think?" Right? And you don't have that question
Except
here.
you,
You could just walk up to his ass and ask him.
except it's funny because you say that, and then I equate it to the. You ever saw the meme of the? You ever saw a meme or anybody say when a time traveler comes back in time and just moves the chair?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Everything fucking changes.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Exactly.
it's almost like that, I feel, but everything was already the start had already started to begin with. So
Yeah, yeah.
but that's what my brain went. That's crazy.
But yeah, with Ben being alive, you don't have to wonder or worry about what someone who cares about him would think about the choices that he's being made. He can literally ask him, and a lot of this starts off before you know much about our Peter Parker. You know that Ben Parker is not one to be pushed around. You know that Ben Parker is not one to push his own morals to the side for money. Ben Parker quits his job ultimately when confronted with the idea that he would have to do shady journalism to keep his job, when we find out that the Daily Bugle is owned by Fisk, who is who eventually revealed to be um, one of the people that the Makers people have underneath their boot, if you will. The Maker himself has divvied up the entire universe between him and his cabal, and then his cabal have lieutenants underneath that. And you even find out that guys like Fisk have lieutenants underneath him when you bring in the Sinister Six and stuff like that. I like having Fisk just be this. I mean, he gets into a fight at one point, but ultimately he's just like this big shadow. He's just money. He's money and
Yeah.
power and influence. And when
Money and force.
yeah, yeah, and
Straight up.
when confronted with that, Ben doesn't fold. Ben doesn't hem and haw. Ben doesn't even come to anybody else with the question of like, what should I do? At one point, Pete asks him.
He tells Fisk straight up, like,
Yeah.
yo, bro, I don't know what but I'm finna do this anyway.
Yeah. So when it comes to making this decision, he even tells Pete like, it was the easiest decision I ever had. And that's somebody with conviction. That's somebody who knows that anywhere is better than a place where you are sacrificing the things you believe in for money. And it could have been a sob story, but instead it turns into like this little, almost even comedic, sweet story of these two older men doing their best to start their own, paper company, newspaper company, news website. And I think their continued effort to work from the bottom up serves as a really cool background motivation for Peter, right? Anytime he considers quitting this, he just looks at his uncle, who is still busting his ass at his age to make a difference in the world. There's no lack of motivation for this Parker, whether it's at home, right, or it's with the other, it's with Ben and with Jonah there. Sometimes I think Ben and Jonah are written a little close.
Yep, sure do. I agree. And
I'm nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But I do wonder if there's an intention behind that.
I thought so too. For me, but that's the thing. Like, I feel like it's so. I feel like it's so different that to the point where they have you suspecting that they might be. There's a chance they might be together or whatever, But but the only thing that like throws you off the scent is
Hey?
Aunt May. Yeah. But she's not she's not around though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, is 24 gonna end with him being like, you know what? Since May's been gone, I've been dying to tell you,
You know what I'm saying?
something. And,
I just think if they were gonna do that, they get it over with already. You know, I just think it's so different and so like nobody would have even have thought of anything like that. Not even with Ben, to be honest. It's just with Jameson. This Jameson is just so polar opposite from the Jameson we know. You know, it's
what I
it's
also
weird, super weird.
what I also love is I feel like they are constantly saying that their mission to provide truth and take down possible people like Fisk is as important as Peter going out there and punching people in the street. I'm saying like they will not waver in their conviction, doing things the right way, and it puts them directly in front of the most dangerous man in the city, and neither flinch. And I think that that's an incredible source of inspiration for Peter throughout all this stuff, and I think that's an incredibly important thing in general. Right now, bro, I don't know if you've been paying attention. There's rumors that like if you're a reporter and you don't talk well about the president, you don't get invited to the ex president. You understand? Which create and it's the same thing. You've heard this for wrestlers, right? You've heard this for other interviews. So you just have a bunch of interviewers asking Charmin soft questions
because they want to come. Yeah,
because they want to come back, and you get no truth. You get no accountability. You get no pushback. You get no journalism. It's everyone just massaging each other.
Ben and Jameson don't care for such things. You heard?
That's what I'm saying. They don't care. They don't, and they're old enough to have a death wish. So I think that's also a cool part of it. Little bit of a rant, which I would love for you to join in on. I was terrified that they would do a very long standing comic book trope of having Pete continuously lie to MJ about this whole Spider-Man thing, and thus kind of put them on opposite ends.
She becomes
Skylar White, she becomes Iris West, she becomes every wife that doesn't know what the husband is doing, and ultimately ends up kind of becoming the antagonist because she is putting obstacles in his way because she doesn't realize what he's actually doing. I am so relieved that is not the case. When she finds out about Peter being Spider-Man, he's like, come on, how mad are you? She's like, I'm not really that mad. I'm disappointed that this and this happened, but ultimately, like, they didn't drag that. And happens in so much stuff, bro.
I was hype about that because only reason why I was hype about that, I'm like, there is and I like to think I know my boy pretty well. You know what I mean? And I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, all right, cool. We got the suit and stuff now. We got our powers. But we also got the wife and kids. What the hell are we going to do, bro?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, bro, you're gonna hiding it from MJ and other stories was you know what I'm saying, was a task in its own sometimes.
Leaving dates and shit.
Yeah, how the hell are we gonna hide it from
the person
MJ
you live with
and the kids? I'm not gonna be able to do this and not have anybody not find out in the crib. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And they kind of play around with that idea that you're just talking about. How impossible would it be? It's so impossible that I think in like a series of days he gets found out. Like just in a series of days he gets found out, and in the most adorable way. He gets found by May Parker. Yeah, his daughter.
May is the one that finds out first. She finds out first, and to be honest, I wouldn't have had it happen any other way.
What's interesting?
I would rather one of my kids find out first. Matter of fact, I'd rather the daughter find out first than anybody else.
Yeah. What's interesting about the review, though, is that the kids had already been kind of privy to the idea of this person existing. He had already been getting pictures taken of him and used in stuff like the paper, right? And so one of the things May says up front is that she doesn't like him. He's scary. So when she sees Peter in the outfit, she's like, "Why are you wearing the outfit of that scary man?" He's like, "Not for nothing, I am that scary man." Like, like I am. It's funny because I almost took a picture of the panel because he goes like, "I am that guy," and I'm like, "Hey, you are that guy, bro." Like you that.
You heard? I heard. And now I'm damn. Why you said that? I'm gonna go back to use that shit.
Yeah. He's like, "I am that guy." And I'm like, "Hey, you are that guy,
you
bro."
heard?
And like. Out there, rough night, getting beat up and all that kind of stuff, saving, trying to solve crime and all that kind of stuff, fight crime, and then has to bring all that down to a small child, simplify it all, make her feel assured, make her feel happy, make her feel
all while climbing in through the window and changing.
I love that he was like halfway through a sandwich. That's
vibes.
That's fucking vibes.
To be fair, I think, and even with the secret getting out the way it did, I think it would have gotten out in the same amount of time. It wouldn't have mattered which kid would have found out.
What's interesting though is that in this moment he could have still denied. In this moment he could have been like, "You're having a dream." He could have. He could have. This is a child, but the fact that he chooses, like, he sees this moment. And you can almost see the fork in the road in his mind. And he just chooses the right, in my opinion, what the right road is. Now, there's been essays and movies and whatever expounding this idea that the more people that know your secret identity, the more of them are in danger here. Peter doesn't see that as at one point he has this conversation with Harry about it, right? But ultimately, because Harry's the one who's like, I told my wife, like,
they don't know.
Like, yeah, you know. And I think that kind of colors Peter's ability to want to tell everyone. But I like that he keeps it with him and his daughter first, and it's kind of like their secret.
I like that
for a little bit there. And she is ultimately the person that gets him to change the color scheme. She thinks that
hell yeah, you beat me. Oh, you beat me to that.
What I do, bro? This is what I do. I'm out here in these streets. What do you think about the little montage they had there about picking outfits and stuff?
Fire. It's funny because you see some of the ideas that they had, and doing that with your kid must have been pretty cool, Pete.
It's always cool as is, right? He gets his sewing machine out, or he gets a notebook out, and he sketches all these designs and comes up with something, unique and interesting. But in this instance, like, you have the best. What is it? The fan or what is it? Test screening? Like, you have the best experiment right there in front of you, and they play around with like Ben Reilly's design.
Yeah,
they play around with like the Iron Spider design, whatever stuff like that. And
it's funny because I wish she had kept the secret a little longer, but the way she lets it out is I guess just perfect. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's no other way a kid would reveal the secret other than that way too.
Yes. And again, it ultimately comes from a place of concern.
Yeah.
Like that's why it gets like spilled out of her, is because she's worried about her father. But I like that they play around with the idea of her, the hooded Spider-Man thing. He's like, "This is cool." And he's like, "Yo, you're old. That's not cool."
Yeah.
And like, even now, people would look at some of the '90s outfits and be like, "Why does he have a hoodie? Why does he need a hoodie? He never has it up." Like, what's going on here? So I like that you got to play with a little bit of that narrative there. It makes sense for the bright blue and the red from a child's perspective. And earlier on in the story, she kind of draws him a spider that's red and blue, and you could tell that kind of motivated him to go in that direction. So I like the idea that they have a committee. It's like the family coming together to help, because ultimately it's also MJ that calls him Spider-Man, which I also love. I love that wasn't left. You would think that's something Tony would say, right? By the way, get the suit, make it red and blue, and call yourself Spider-Man, because that's what's in the files. But he kind of let him go, and we got to that eventuality anyway. It's almost one of those, like, a constant.
Destiny!
Yeah. It's just a constant that is meant to happen there. So yeah, I love that. Sorry for those if there's children in the room. I like that our Peter and MJ screw. I like that they still have a healthy. That's
what I'm saying, bro.
Appetite.
Peter literally has everything, everything. So to see him have everything and to have stories unfold while he has everything, it's just, you know.
You made an interesting point because it's easy, and I say this all the time. Me and you've had personal conversations not only about this stuff, but how this stuff spills into the real world. And me and you have had conversations where I've said things like, when somebody's down, like down and out, and they choose to do something or choose to go down a career path, that doesn't prove anything to me. That doesn't prove to me that they love it or that they really want to be into it. When they have everything they need, what do? You understand? If someone was like, you know what, I really want to be a singer. That's what I really want to be. And God, I wish I could be a singer and all this other kind of stuff. And then they win the lottery. And all of a sudden that singer dream goes away because they didn't really want to sing. They wanted to be famous. But they didn't really want to sing. They wanted to be rich, you know? And so with Peter, it's like, you could argue that the regular 616 Peter is helping other people because he wished he could have been helped. He's helping other people because he's still trying to deal with the loss in his life. But this Peter's fulfilled for the most part. You know, his love tank is fully filled. So there's no reason to spill into others. He's just that good a person. That even when his needs are met and he could just chill, he doesn't have to answer that call to action literally in the first issue. There's still more.
There's still,
And that is what makes him the GOAT, right? That just basically is why he's one of the greatest of all time. He's still choosing, even when he has a life filled to the brim with supportive people, with loving people, with all this.
Bro, his name is at the top of the list. They said, "Come on now, what you mean?"
You had to get that right.
You know what's crazy about that? And I popped at that little piece of him being at the top of said list, because no matter what, if there's a list regarding anything like that, right? Greatest superheroes or greatest heroes of the future, the greatest hero of all time, bro, he is top 3 at least. Always.
Now that you said that, I am dying for in issue 24 for them to be like, and gracing us for the last time, the greatest of all time. The last time is now, bro.
That's gonna be the page right before the story starts.
Yeah, gracing us for one last time. We gotta talk about Harry.
Let's talk about Harry.
We got to talk about Harry. Harry is extremely interesting in this story, and not only is he extremely interesting, they bring him up like almost immediately. Green Goblin is seen; he is spotted. They did their best to do the best amalgamation of like the Raimi Spider-Man design. And this, what do you think of that? What do you think of that?
Yo, it's pretty all right. It's pretty all right. I like that. It's pretty clean, to be honest.
Yeah.
I like if that popped up in the movies, I wouldn't even be upset. It's just the only thing I'd be upset about is, people talking about the chess piece. I know people will fucking talk about the chess piece and be like, and then I gotta sit here and be like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Go open something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know that'll be the case, but I don't really care. Care about that shit. I just know that the suit is clean, bro, and so is the glider.
It is. Before he gets it though, like we get a very short clip of him talking to his pops.
Yeah.
And his pops is basically like, you know what? You know what's my favorite memory of you is the day that you finally became a man.
Dogging him the fuck out. If I'm leaving the building after that, right? I'm out of here. I'm filing for I'm filing for divorce.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Jesus.
He says something along the lines of, do you know what my favorite memory is of you, Harry? And Harry's like, well, it's when we played catch. And he goes, no, that's your little kid version of what you think I remember is the best part about it. What my favorite memory of you is when you finally became a man and finally started acting like an Osborn. And by the way, that hasn't happened yet. So how long are you gonna make me wait for you to be? This is the mid conversation he's having when the terrorist attack that is blamed on young Tony Stark and the Ultimates occurs.
Imagine that being the last thing your dad does is just shits on you before he fucking just explode.
Yes, yes. I lost my father and I couldn't remember what the exact last conversation that we had was, but it wasn't that. And I don't know if
But
it would have
wasn't
been that.
I can
Yeah,
tell you
if
that
it
right
was
now.
that, I don't know how that would color my history with it. But yeah, we lose both his mother and his father in this explosion here. And ultimately because the conglomerate of Stain and Stark, because both of those guys died as well, Howard Stark and Obadiah Stane, both, or was it Zeke? I can't remember. But it's one of the Stains. Both of them ended up dying. So all of that entire conglomerate gets handed right to Harry. And he automatically he inherits the most technologically advanced technology he could find.
My man got Stark Industries on a discount. Like
yeah, and opens the door and just gets his own.
He got it at
an
an auction, more or less.
He just gets this entire impressive slew of Iron Man here, and chooses to use them to attack Fisk, who's trying his best to have a stranglehold over not only everything that Norman does, but everything in the city. You were just talking about the paper and the bugle and all that stuff there. And so Harry starts off as this, almost like this vigilante motivated by vengeance. But the interesting thing about it is he almost gets Peter's origin. Like you know what I'm saying? Like he lost everybody and he's trying to whatever. And so him and Peter's dynamic on where the line is and where you shouldn't cross the line is completely different. Did you find yourself at all in the early stages of this sympathizing with Harry?
I definitely had myself trying to. I will say that. But the second they show us that he's willing to put the bodies in the streets. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, I don't know, Harry. I don't think we could be best friends like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And they even have a pretty interesting introduction, right? Because is Harry watching Peter fail with this shocker thing over and over again. They ultimately team up, but what's interesting is that because Harry's suit is Stark Tech, he recognizes that Peter's suit is also Stark Tech, and so he uses it to unmask him.
To the suit. Yeah,
he pairs to the suit. He unmasks him, but then also in a show of like truce, unmasks himself.
Right.
And it's like, hi, my name is Norman. Or sorry, Harry.
I thought that was classy. I thought that was very classy.
It's classy, but it's like literally watching the Titanic meet the iceberg. Like, I hope I see you soon. You understand? Right. There's only one thing that's gonna happen when these two come together, and that's the feeling. They frame it that way. Like they're both, like on two opposite ends.
Side to side, yeah.
And it's just like, what happened? Like you're waiting for the shoe to drop because the Green Goblin is notoriously
because you already know. And that's the thing that I really, really like about this, right? You'll get everything that they're laying out in front of you, and you have all of these past experiences and past stories, almost like a monkey on your back that you have to look over your shoulder to be like, oh shit, is this gonna happen? And then right before you think it happens, or right after you start thinking that, or getting your own traction with where you think it's gonna go, they spin that shit on his head. And I that's what I really, really like about this one here.
Yeah. They have a bunch of conversations about whether or not you should have a secret identity, why he's doing the things that he's doing. He introduces him to his old buddy Otto Octavius, and again you're waiting and seeing like when's this shoe gonna drop?
You see?
And not only that,
but that's the thing, you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop, because you know how the main stories and how they're supposed to go. So now when they don't go that way, it's like,
but they also know that you know.
Yes, exactly.
So they're
so it's like, you think we're gonna think, and now it's like we're gonna pivot.
Yeah.
Regardless if you like, I'll use like the Sinister Six. Like, regardless if you think this is gonna happen one way because you're used to it being this way, and especially with the people that we have included in this. So, you know, even if you think it's gonna go, you know, it's not. You just, like you said, waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah, they are really good at zigging when we think they're gonna zag, and vice versa. But again, it's about telegraphing where you think people are gonna go. We've done this in professional wrestling writing, right? We have to anticipate where people think things are gonna go, and then pull the rug out from under them. But not in a way that's so ridiculous where it's so out of left field what happens, right? That you don't want to swerve like that, where things are so ridiculous that they don't even make sense. Right, so you play with people's knowledge of the property of Spider-Man. He's one of the most famous people of all time, but because this is a new take on him, you're allowing people who may not have all that history. They might see, you know, Otto and be like, well, I know he becomes Dr. Octopus eventually, but why can't he be a good scientist this entire time? Until almost every panel he's in, he's almost like, in every panel, he's like rubbing his hands. He's like,
yes.
So I'm like, I don't really trust it.
The suits, Harry. Yes, both Stark Tech. Yes, I made this one for you, Peter. You don't want to use it?
We didn't mention it, but Gwen Stacy is married to Harry in it. And she's one of the ones that when they meet Otto, it's like, we need to get him to sign an NDA.
Yeah.
We need to get him to sign an NDA yesterday. He's like, we already made him sign an NDA. He's like, no, like a bigger NDA. You know, like she's the one that kind of recognizes how all of this could go wrong. And, you know, she might have some like a bit of a mysterious background we won't be getting into this one. But keep your eyes on Gwen Stacy of this universe, because she's up to her own machinations in this.
Word.
And she also does not play. She has conversations with Pete and conversations with Harry and conversations with MJ.
And she's also, you know, good at running things.
Yeah, she's a ruthless businesswoman.
Yeah, she's boss lady up in here.
She decides on a whim to own the paper. Like she's like, can you call those guys? Call those guys for me. I'm
a spot y'all.
You know, I've always wanted to like own a thing or something like that. I'm like, okay,
I'm bored.
There are moments in this comic, because like I said, because of our knowledge of the people, that just pull you in a direction. They either break your heart or make you smile. Like I said, all this stuff when MJ says the thing like, come on, it's obvious you're Spider-Man, and they go out for that thwip. I'm like, how could you can't beat that. Like, this is amazing. This is amazing stuff here. When Peter talks down his daughter after figuring out that, you know, that he's Spider-Man and stuff like that. When they go attack Fisk, and Fisk bodies them.
He washes them.
He has like
the marking, the Demon Hunter mark tattoos.
No, was that not the same ones on Bullseye? The Bullseye that Harry captured, and they're like, this is some sort of like some sort of armor, some sort of like, the markings act as some sort of modification. And even Fisk says like, this is the new me or something like that. Like, you know, like, I've had some work done or something. He says something along those lines. He's just like this big behemoth and he's smashing through. So like, you smash cut and Peter is beat to high heaven and trying to get away with like 2 black eyes, a busted nose, a bruised cheek. And MJ's like, what happened? And he's like, I fell.
All at the same time that Harry's like, we gotta kill him. Kill this man.
But the idea of him trying to waltz, into this crib after going 12 rounds with Mayweather, and thinking he can get away with saying,
Wasn't he there like waiting for them when they got there or something like that?
It just cuts and he's already there, and they're like, what the hell happened? There, right? Like, what the hell happened? And he's like, oh, you know, I just fell down, whatever, you know. And he's trying his best to spin this yarn about how he really got injured, when ultimately May's like, oh, it was because he was doing a superhero thing. He's like, I didn't really mean to say you were doing the superhero thing. I just thought that you got hurt.
He got being a superhero.
Yeah. And then that basically, you know, so even that moment there, right, is one of those moments where I'm flinching because I don't want this to be a, you know what, Peter, I'm taking the kids to my mother's.
Yeah.
You know, situation.
We're out. Figure it out. What you want to do?
Yeah. Like the son at one point is like, oh, so May knew longer than me, but it's not made to be this big thing that he's grinding an axe over. And, doesn't create a bunch of jealousy, you know, or, you know, change the dynamic in that sense. Richard is his son?
Yes.
Richard will go on to have also his own little arc the more further that you go into this. And it's possibly setting up for some incredible heartbreak. later down the line. But like I said, when you see these breadcrumb trails, you can't help but get certain reaction. And I just finished rereading this part not too long ago. I want to say last night. So one of the moments that just like I'm literally getting goosebumps talking about it, and you'll probably get it as well, is when they are talking to Otto, and Otto's like, "Oh, I'm fucking with your suits, and I'm can do some upgrades and stuff like that. By the way, I can also integrate an AI that will speak to you when you're going through all this kind of stuff." And so Pete's like, "Oh, make it into my voice."
I talk to myself.
Yeah. And Peter's like making my voice, and instantly you get the comic book inner monologue of Spider-Man. And he's talking to himself, and it becomes like this cool, like, you're like, wow, it all is starting to make sense, and it makes sense in a more technological way, in a way that makes more sense in the comic as to why it should go on. And you're sitting there and you're smiling, and you're like, this is really cool. And then you hear off the side Harry go, yeah, making my dad. And everything, my heart,
I said, yo,
dropped,
I fucking,
bro.
Oh my God, I slammed the couch. I said, is he fucking stupid?
Because that's what you want in your head all day.
Do you know what the fuck is that shit gonna do to you all day, bro? Matter of fact, do you remember what y'all spoke about last?
Yeah. So like
that was one of my dads. I said, it's over.
That was one of those moments.
I said we'd agree. I said we'd agree, Goblin.
That's it.
There we go.
Well, so like, yeah, you're sitting in that. I'm just like, this is perfect writing, because anyone who knows this character is wondering, how do you get to the crazed, vengeful, out of their mind Goblin? There's no serum here. There's no, right? Like, he's not taking any experimental drug that, oh, I was fine and now I'm not. He's always had these daddy issues, and now they're integrated into his suit. And it's not, the point is not made more clear than when they spar. And they're sparring, and the suit's talking shit. The dad's talking shit.
Yeah, but the suit's talking shit to him, and it's giving him the same talk they had before Mr. Osborn died. Before Harry's dad died.
Yeah, so it's even in the sparring that eventually
you ain't shit, Norman.
Even in the sparring that he eventually wins, when he eventually does take Peter down, the voice of his dad is like, yeah, that was acceptable.
I was like, I'll take it.
Like, that was, yeah, that's the best you got, bro. Like, my son,
bro, unit beam to the grill. That's
in a sparring match. That's,
you know what I'm saying?
That's a low blow.
You said that's decent.
That's ridiculous. But I also love that Peter's voice is like, I think his dad's talking shit.
Yeah.
Peter's like, I don't think he's like playing. He's hitting us a bit rough, and seems to be like he's going for the kill here. What a tragic little layer for that character. Have his dad in his all the time.
Always, every time he puts the suit on. And then you could imagine that after he takes the suit off, it'll probably still kind of linger almost, you know. But then I would also assume the suit is always on him though.
Well, in other iterations, right? Norman is just hearing himself, kind of the Goblin, right? Talk to him.
Yeah, the Goblin in his head.
And again, if you are 35-ish, around the time when the series comes out, and you're around the same age as Peter Parker, then you vividly remember Willem Dafoe talking to Harry Osborn and avenge me and all that stuff. And it is cookie cutter mental illness, cookie cutter schizophrenia. Adding technology to it is more fucked. That's like Black Mirror shit. Like it's way almost darker in a way, that your real father is not even there to help you, and you're not even imagining it. They took all the parts of your dad, and he's still a jerk. Like, they took all the parts, and he's
the jerk parts, and put that shit into the suit.
And you're still on a leash, you know. So yeah, that moment was also huge. Like, that was a bigger moment than like any of the Fist stuff to me, because Harry has been kind of on the straight and narrow. Been telling the truth, right? He's been helping Peter out. He's not done anything shady. There's a moment there where Peter's like, oh, I wish I had all the money in the world so I could be free. He's like, that doesn't give you freedom. You need like no one to answer to or whatever. He's like, I think that's not freedom either. I think that's selfishness or whatever. So like, what Harry wants may not 100% be right, but the things that he's doing seemingly are helping people. or at least
I
he's
know what
trying to do
Harry
his
wants.
best to poke.
I know what Harry wants.
What Harry wants.
Blood.
Harry does want blood, or at
Harry
least he
wants
starts.
blood.
He
He's got
starts
a
off.
bloodlust boy.
He's, or at the very least, he starts off wanting blood. But what ends up happening is something incredibly interesting. I think what ultimately Harry wants, legacy, because while all this is going on and they're playing superhero team and they're figuring all this stuff out, they get a little bit of a ring of the bell, and Tony Stark shows the hell up, and he's like, "Hey, remember that thing I gave you? Yeah, remember that thing I gave you? You hero yet?
Is it lit yet? Is it lit yet? Are we lit?
Yes." And I love that he like uses his Stark tech to take off Norman's, or Harry's.
The same thing he
well.
did to
He's jailbreaking these fucking suits and shit like in front of them or whatever. But there, and maybe I'm wrong, and I have not finished this series, but there seems to be an innate jealousy from Harry when he finds out that he is not one of these people on a list that is destined to save this earth.
100%. Because he asks him, like, what about me? Like, and Tony tells him, like,
he says,
you're not even on the list at all, bro.
Where am I on this list? And he goes, nowhere, because you're not even on it at all.
You're not even on it, bro.
And so that is another.
That makes him feel like almost like he's insignificant.
It makes him feel like how his dad feels. Makes him feel. And now he's been told. And now he's been told twice by almost God
and the future.
Yeah,
by the future.
So similarly, it's the opposite side of Peter, where Peter like.
You ain't shit in the future, bro. It's Parker Industries, family.
Could you imagine feeling that level of insignificant and then have it confirmed to you? I mean, I guess it's not everyone could be this grandiose hero that's going to save the world. Right. So it's not like he should feel bad that he's not on this very selected list, but it's just another way in which he feels he fell short. There's another way in which he feels like he is not measuring up. And it's so interesting. It's so interesting because he is incredibly rich. He has this outfit, same thing that we were talking about. He has a wife. Do they have a kid?
No kids.
Okay. Wondering about Normie. Normie. I couldn't remember, but yeah, like this puts them on complete opposite ends of the spectrum now. And while they do fight alongside each other, I'm still always waiting for the shoe to drop with Harry. I'm still always waiting for that jealousy or the selfishness or any of the stuff that I know from original recipe Harry to come out and into this version. And it's going to make it already makes some of the early stories more heartbreaking, where they are friends and they're going to dinner together with their wives and shit. At one point they're like, "Hey, come over for Christmas." And I love that Peter, if you are a dad, Peter's like, that whole time is locked down.
Oh.
Like lockdown months in advance.
You're bugging. Like, if you ain't coming over, then I don't got nothing for you, bro.
I love that answer because it's so true. Like, you coming to me on the 23rd to ask me what me and my family doing on Christmas? Like, that's just planned, booked, the bags are packed, everybody, everybody's ready. So I thought I found that really interesting. But then also, like they said, he's like, nah, because when Gwen gets on a plan, and I'm like, yeah. That is also very true, Mr. Osborn. The last thing I kind of want to talk about today is this new Sinister Six that they got out here running around. They're not like street level heroes that Fisk just got together because they all already hated Spider-Man. These are like his hitters from around the world. What do you think of this new Sinister Six and some of the new inclusions? I was
gonna let you finish before I got my shit in.
Go ahead.
And I'm gonna let you know right now.
Not a fan?
Not with it.
Is it because of Mole Man?
It's specifically because of Mole Man.
Are you serious? That's funny as hell.
Nah, he's pretty lit. I'm just used to my team.
Yeah.
No, I'm just used to the OG Sinister Six. And maybe that is a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a knock on the characters in this Sinister Six, because I fuck with Mysterio. I fuck with Kraven. I'll probably fuck with Kraven the most because in this one out of this in this iteration of the Sinister Six, because it's like my man is turned up, bro. But it's like, it's like he's turned up, but then they found a way to bring him down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, they're not. They're ultimately not meant to be like the big bad at the end of
right.
this. They seem like
but that's what I'm saying.
To get past.
They clearly have a boss, right? And they're the little guys in this.
I like that Martin Lee made the team.
Yeah, I was just about to say I was saving him for last. I like this iteration of Martin Lee in the team because he got the man bun,
Yeah, that hair looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically Martin Lee. It is Walter Hardy, Alicia's father, the Black Cat,
Alicia's dad,
who is a legitimate old villain in Marvel Comics. Harry Elder, which people would have seen 2004 as the Mole Man. He looks like the bigger dude from Shaun of the Dead. I can't remember his name right now. People are screaming it, but yeah. But yeah, everyone in this looks more like a person. I don't know how to say that. They're drawn more like an actual person than a cartoon character version of what. Because look at that mop top that they give Otto in those early comics. You know what I'm saying? He didn't feel like a real person. But you got that bald Otto from the Spider-Man game, and I'm like, I can kind of see that. That kind of works for me. So yeah, you have this basically international group of heavy hitters that kidnap both Harry and Peter. And what's bugged about that is that they're gone for like a long time. In a month or so? They're gone for like more than just a couple days. We're starting to wonder or worry about whether either one of them are.
I'm starting to think, but it's significantly I want. Oh man, I don't even think it's that long, but it's enough for the wives to worry.
Put it this way, it's enough for him to miss Christmas. He's not there for Christmas. Somebody's there for Christmas.
He's there, but he's not there.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
Somebody's there for Christmas.
He's not there. As a matter of fact, I think we find out on Christmas. No, it's funny because that's like one of the last things I read too.
Yeah, it would have been from this because we were trying to go. I think that's the annual. No,
they because I want to say it's between Christmas and New Year's
that he's gone.
I want to that he's gone because I don't even think it's like for months or anything like that. I think it's for like a week that they have them, because when we get to them, they're still tied up and they're eating at the crib of Craven.
Yes.
It's like a week, right?
I'm trying to see what the annual was. I think the annual is the Christmas episode. No? Did they do an annual already?
So.
They did an annual already, right?
It should have been this. Look at my screen, because mine is Happy Holidays.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I could be getting it all wrong, but yeah,
But I think they're gone for like a week.
It's a long time. It's definitely a long time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think even a week is a long time.
I mean, a week away from the wife it's a long time.
And being actively hunted on like some Serengeti situation. Like, there's a lot going on there. But this series doesn't really like hinder on like a lot of physicality. There's some amazing action sequences drawn here, but that's never the main idea or the main event of these stories. It is what they were saying before, what Hickman was saying before, the relationships. And I honestly think that's Hickman's bread and butter.
And boy, do they nail that, bro.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, what are some of your favorite relationships in this book?
Bro, mine is the family.
All of them?
Mine is the family. Straight up. Those are the big four in the comic. If anything were to ever happen to them, I don't know what I might do.
And as I said, we
just getting everything that we've ever wanted forever, and you know what I'm saying. And you but gonna let us rock for like 20 minutes? Nah. As a matter of fact, it's not even 20 minutes because every time we jump into something new, a month goes by. So we still got a year left for the maker to come by.
And that's also the big thing. No matter what we are dealing with here, there is a ticking clock in the background.
Still got something way bigger coming. Yeah.
And this is one chapter of ultimately 4 or 5, 6 different chapters in this same universe going in this direction. So like you know that that timer's there. I don't know what they're gonna do after this because a lot of people still want this, and a lot of people are.
Yeah, bro. And I found myself saying that all the way through this. The second I picked it up, like, yo, what they're gonna book themselves into a problem.
Yeah, and you also don't want to necessarily kill a cash cow, you know.
Right.
So what this all spills into,
Or not even a
afterwards,
cash cow, just a great ass story, bro. You know, especially the story.
it's ironic when they're both right. It's ironic when the good story makes money, because there's a lot of times we've talked about great movies, great wrestling talent, whatever, and it's just like, oh well, you know, I'm glad they got as much success as they did. There's not a reason why people could have rejected this. Another Spider-Man story, another universe. What are we doing here? But this was one of those things that they felt so strongly that they led with this, which ultimately was the gateway drug for the rest of the Ultimate Universe. If you're digging this, you're crazy, completely down for everything else that we do. And that's what we're ultimately trying to do here. This entire month is our Ultimate Universe month. So like next week, we'll be tackling Ultimate X-Men. After that, Ultimate Black Panther. Then we're going to the Ultimates, which is killing the game over there on Ultimates. And then you leave even a little bit of Ultimate Wolverine to finish us off. But it's so weird for something so familiar to still feel so different. I love how
does it.
I love how supported Peter is. I would say possibly my favorite relationship is him and MJ, because I feel like they've gone out of their way before to just make her difficult. And I don't mean to say that in a gendered way. I mean to say that in like a lazy writing. In a let's just make her give him drama for everything all the time. And I'm not saying that she should be like this limp, you know, yes, Peter, you know, character that never argues with him or never brings up stuff. But the conversations that they have here remind me of conversations had like on Superman and Lois. And I'm like, oh, these are two people who love each other. They realize that the other person is not the issue. They're standing in front of the issue. And they have to get through the issue together. So they've come together to have a difficult conversation. Difficult things may get said, but it's ultimately as a team to get past this, you know? And Pete's deserved that for a very long time.
For too long, bro. For too long.
For too long. And I wonder what, you know, similar to me saying, you know, this is a gateway drug. I wonder how many people are going to need their fix of this happy relationship when all this dries up. I'm
them. Oh boy. Oh my God.
I am them. As we finish up here, I'm trying just to think of anything else I want to say about this series. I'm gonna look through.
I'll say this, man. If you are a diehard Spider-Man fan, if you bleed red, blue, and black, if you, man, I can go on, but this does the justice. You know, this right here, this is it. If you, as a Spider-Man fan, have wanted your boy to have everything and be that dude while having everything, this is it. Minus Aunt May. This is it right here, bro. This is as close as you're gonna get to perfection. You know, Peter ain't known for having his parents. Peter is known for not having his parents. Peter is known for not having Uncle Ben, you know, and he still doesn't have that in a sense. In this, he doesn't really have his parents. He doesn't have his parents. He has Uncle Ben, but no Aunt May, and he has everything else, the kids, the wife, you know, just the family. And bro, this is it right here. You know, with also a twist on your favorite things, you know. And I can really appreciate that. But boy, it's gonna suck when it's over, man. So I'm really appreciating this for as long as that it's around, while they're also telling the bigger picture. And I'm happy about it. I'm happy this exists, and I'm happy there's a story out here now where Peter has everything while being Spider-Man, you know? And
and I like how similar the rogues galleries and stuff are. I feel like we don't need a overarching big, like, crazy, intense big bad, because Big Bad is there. He's the maker. He's coming anytime soon. So you just need to kind of have these guys distracted until that moment arises. I thought about this absolutely terrible metaphor for what this felt like for me, and I think you might have a unique life experience to tell me whether or not I'm correct or not. But I think, to me, Ultimate Spider-Man is like Korean fried chicken. In the sense that you've had the original recipe for so long and you know what that tastes like and it's good. You hear Korean fried chicken and you're like, then you taste Korean fried chicken and you go, I did not know that
Hot
just
damn.
the same ingredients in just a different order, done a slightly different way, could kill the damn game. This is my version of Korean fried chicken, bro. Ever since I had that over by your way, I swear by it. Crunchiest stuff I've ever
Hell
had.
yeah.
And this has the
Hell
crunch.
yeah.
It has the taste. It has the spice. It has the crunch. So I agree with
All
you.
the sauce.
Yeah. And obviously we didn't cover absolutely everything that the story has to talk
Right.
about because hopefully we'll be able to in the fullness
To
of
be fair,
time. Right.
to be fair, I really like our approach because it leaves room for other people to, I make up their mind. I just feel like I can only push you in the right direction. I can't make you pick up the book.
Yeah.
But I can only hope that you do pick up the book if you're listening, and because I want you to pick up the book because it's good.
Yeah, it's a tremendous read. It's fun. It's breezy. The reread was very fast. The art is, like I said, amazing. This is a guy on his dream project, and he's killing the game on purpose. All of this is in his resume now forever, and if he never does anything ever again, which is highly unlikely, most artists would dream to have a portfolio like he has, to have these designs, these covers, absolutely killing the game. And then Hickman seems to be effortless at this stuff. So it's been a tremendous journey just to follow these guys in that direction. And even though it's finishing up soon, this is gonna feel like a very personal Spider-Man story. Like people felt that way about their Ultimate Spider-Man when they got it at their time, and it just hit at just the right time. And this I feel like is hitting the fan base and myself at just the perfect time. If you're a fan of Spider-Man and think you've seen it all, read it. If you're a fan of Spider-Man but not a comic book fan, check it out. It's not going to make you feel dumb. It's not going to require a bunch of homework to get into.
Yep.
It holds your hand in the most comforting way, and then it lets go and makes you kind of come up with your own ideas, opinions, and foresight into what could be the future of this comic series. But yeah, I think we did a tremendous job, kind of just talking about the feel and the tone of this book. We'll be back next week to talk about Black Panther. Oh, sorry, X-Men, and then Black Panther will be on our 400th episode of the Major Issues podcast. So if you're watching this live for the first time, or if you are listening to it in the audio version, remember that we do this on Facebook Live once a week, so you could be part of the actual conversation. So thank you for all those who have been watching us thus far. But the audio version of this drops every single Thursday, so you can set your watch to that and get brand new episodes of the Major Issues podcast. Like I said, we have over 400, or close to over 400 episodes. I know we definitely have over 400 hours of content over there at ComicBookClique.com. So that's the first place I'll tell you guys to look. If you're digging anything that we do here, if you're following us already on social media, Facebook.com/ComicBookClique, Instagram at ComicBookClique, or using that hashtag ComicBookClique to talk about the latest and greatest things to come to comic books, comic book media. If you're already following us on social media, go to ComicBookClique.com. It's the one-stop shop for everything that we do. And now we've put a more renewed focus on the website. We're putting more articles more than ever. We have a tournament, a battle of the panels that we're going through here. We still provide video content on our YouTube. The video version of this conversation will go up on our YouTube alongside things like Alex Garcia, the Cogs, major hauls, major previews, all the kind of stuff that we're doing there. So all we're saying is if you like this, there's way more of it. We do a lot of this content really for the love of the game, and we don't really know who's finding it and how they are. But we're trying to spread ourselves all over this internet. If you don't believe me, Google Major Issues Podcast, and I promise you we're the first ones to pop up because we've been in this game for a very, very long time, and we've made our mark here in this comic book space, and we're only getting bigger. So I implore you guys to get on the bandwagon before the bandwagon gets full and follow us everywhere that we are, all the things that we do. If you want to help us out monetarily, there's several ways you can do that. You can go to our shop. If you go to comicbookclique.com and you hit shop CBC merch, you can buy an original one-of-a-kind designed shirt by me, and we get a kickback for all that kind of stuff. All that money goes right back into purchasing things like hardware and software that we need to keep providing you guys content free of charge. Every video series we do, every live recording that we do, every episode of the podcast, every review that we type up, all of this is free of charge, all for the love of the game. So we do need some support sometimes to keep all this afloat. So those who have been helping us out, thank you so much. You can become a Patreon at patreon.com/CBC Clubhouse. And for as little as 10 cents a day, change you find in the couch. $3 a month is the lowest tier. You can help us, like I said again, provide the hardware and the software that we need to keep providing content free of charge. We are only getting bigger, and I wish that was a joke. I wish I was saying something like faking it till you make it kind of stuff, but it's getting to the point now where I am fearful of jokes that I make on social media because we're getting writers and artists and actors in the comments now. We are now seen. We are now here. So we gotta start acting like it, and we will.
Can't fake it no more.
Ain't no more faking it because we kind of already made it, but there's still more making to go, and we want you guys on board for that. So make sure you're just following us wherever we're found. Now, a rising tide raises all ships, and all the success that we have found is not without the continued success of our neighbors on ComicBookClique.com, Dirt Sheet Radio. Those guys are industry leaders in all things professional wrestling and pop culture. The current Big Two war is killing John Escudero as he has to now cover two PLEs on any given day. So pray for my mans out there. He runs a tight ship, and they do. Like I said, the industry leaders in all things professional wrestling and pop culture, constantly doing post show reviews of things like Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Impact, and more. And whenever they can and they have a free time, they come over on the Major Issues podcast and talk and chop it up about comics. Like I said, John Escudero runs a tight ship over there. Appreciative of everything that has come between this partnership. It's been really, really cool to just do. And now, like I said, we're in a position now where the wheels are starting to turn and we got places to go, and we want y'all there, man, 100%. But it's going to get to a point, I've been to the future, where we do become the latest and greatest thing to comic books and comic book media. And it's going to get to a point where when you get on the bandwagon, you're going to be too far back for us to talk to you, far back for us to see. Right now, there's seats up front. Get on board, grab this Babe Ruth rookie card of a podcast, that's going to be incredibly valuable in the future, and get on board before you get lost. Get with it or get lost. But yeah, follow Dirt Sheet Radio, follow All Things Comic Book Clique. Join us next week for all things Ultimate Black Panther. But this has been an incredible sort of journey that we've been on. This is our first time trying a different sort of layout for the conversation, and I think I want to try to go in this direction moving forward. Early on in this podcasting stuff, I was so absolutely terrified of missing details, missing pages, missing panels, especially when we do 20-issue reviews of stuff, right?
I know, because you used to sweat more.
Yes. But now I think that we have kind of mastered this a little bit, if I can, toot my own horn after 400 episodes, and we can kind of look forward to a more relaxed version of the Major Issues podcast as we gain more confidence because of you guys continuing to make our numbers go up across the board. So follow us on social media. Join us next week for Ultimate Black Panther. Thank you for joining us this week. But that means there's nothing else left to say, but my name is George Serrano, a.k.a. The Don.
I am your Cloudus Maximus.
And this has been our Dissecting Ultimate Spider-Man. A little bit of a recap and a review. And remember, whether you're a goblin, a kingpin, a hunter, a father, or just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, remember that we are the Clique, and always remember that you, yes, you are worthy. Thanks, guys.